Good evening, Nidhi ma'am. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be beginning shortly.
Good evening, Aishman. I hope I'm audible, right?
Yes, ma'am, you're
Perfect.
audible.
Cool.
Okay. With the dawn of internet, just a few decades ago, today the whole human civilization has descended into the virtual world of internet. May it be finance, accounting, management, or shopping. We have it all online in this virtual world. But managing and sustaining in a world like this is different and difficult. The conventional methods need an update. A very good evening to one and all present over here. I, Ayushman Jena, on behalf of Idea Innovation Cell, would like to extend a warm welcome to all. So, today's interactive webinar is all about this little update, the robotic process automation. To all those techno enthusiasts out there, here is a platform to learn RPA. Here, we bring the first webinar of RPA series in collaboration with UiPath, a global software company making the robotic process automation softwares. Today we have with us we have our revered guest Miss Nidhi Chaturvedi, an experienced RPA developer and intelligent automation specialist and UiPath MVP as our guest speaker. Thank you ma'am for joining us today. Well, without a further ado, let's dive into today's session. Now, I would like to invite Ms. Gagi Patnaik to give a precise presentation on RPA. D, please.
Okay, hello everyone. I hope I am audible and visible. So, I'm Gargi Patnaik, a pre-final year student, and so we'll start. So, after all the hype that RPA has created among you guys, as is well evident from the numbers, of course, let's not waste time and hop right into the technical part of RPA and learn what makes RPA the new buzzword in the town. Next slide, please. So, RPA is basically a software program that learns or mimics human actions while interacting with the computer to accomplish certain jobs. It is easy for anyone to use and lets us automate digital tasks. Keyboard inputs, mouse movements, and reading the computer screen are only a few of the many tasks which could be automated. Now, simply put, RPA, that is Robotic Process Automation, is the technology that enables computer software to, in a way, we can say, emulate and integrate actions which are typically performed by humans interacting with digital systems. Now, talking about the key aspects of RPA. So, the first one, as you can see, is mimicking human actions. So, RPA aims at automating what humans can do with their hands and eyes, or how we like to say it, we want to take the robot out of the man. Second, operating any application. We believe that as long as a human can operate an app, a robot should be able to do it as well. Well, it's not the easiest thing of all, but it's our credo. Next, structured reading and actioning data. Repetitive work with data opens the path to storing. Please, Suvashish, the last slide, previous slide. Yes, I was talking about the second aspect. The third aspect. So, structured reading and actioning data. Repetitive work with data opens the path to storing all the data that a robot handles and reusing it in other applications as well. Sometimes humans use their knowledge to solve problems, but the data is not captured. But this is not the case with robots. With robots, everything can be recorded, kept, and reused. Next, no mistakes and no rest. Once a robot has been configured to follow a particular process, it will never get exhausted and it won't take any liberties regarding the steps in the process. The last one, quick to implement and powerful to scale. RPA generally doesn't need changes in its architecture. Moreover, if a robot does it, there isn't any reason for getting as many robots as you need to do all the similar or repetitive work. Next slide, please. Okay, so when we talk to people about RPA, people often tend to get confused about this concept. Like they would ask questions like, what is RPA? It sounds a bit complex. But let me tell you guys what definitely is not RPA. So, walking and talking robots or humanoids, as we famously know them, not RPA. Warehouse robots, again not RPA. Human replacements, definitely not RPA. When we are telling you about RPA, what we are saying is that what we mean is that we are talking about bots that can be controlled manually as well as can work automatically. Hence, we can say in a way a software bot. Hence, RPA just explained in a layman's words. Next slide, please. Now, coming to what robots can do. Well, you can see a slew of things are mentioned in the slide. I am definitely not going to read this slide and make it unbearable. Like, what a robot can do is surely everyone's childhood fantasy, right? So, next slide, please. Okay, use of RPA in business. So, robotic process automation is steadily gaining steam in business offices and industries around the globe. And here, as you can see, RPA is currently being deployed in various advanced sectors like education, supply chain, IT, HR, and many more. So, it won't be wrong to say that anything we are doing on a routine basis today is ripe for automation. Next slide, please. Okay, coming to the benefits, we believe that when fully implemented, RPA has the potential to eliminate the need for humans in the back office. Now, one might argue that how is this a good thing? So, automation may take over some back office jobs, but it also presents opportunities to transition employees into more value additive jobs. And we believe that that is much more fruitful for the organization's economy and hence is more promising. Next slide, please. Okay. So, now talking about why you guys should be stoked and excited about RPA. So the answer is just on your screen. The stats show these results that, as you can see, 84% of the employees are set to rapidly digitalize working processes, which which in turn implies that the increasing demand for robotics engineers to carry out the job. Therefore, in a nutshell, you all should definitely think about choosing RP as a career, as it promises immense growth and opportunities. Okay, the next slide. Yes, and here, when it comes to choosing RPA as a career, as I already mentioned, I think the graph says it all. You can surely estimate or guess by now that you can surely estimate the whopping growth of RPA by the year 2025. So, all in all, robotic process automation bots, the RPA bots, can interact with any application or system the same way people do, except that these bots can operate around the clock, non stop, much faster, with 100% reliability and precision. So, I hope you all were able to get a rough idea about what RPA technology is. And with this, I sign off. Over to you, Ayushman. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. So, as mentioned before, we have with us Miss Nidhi Chaturvedi, ma'am, who has a rich experience and high expertise in the field of RPA. Ma'am was also an engineering student like us, completing her diploma from Mirabai Institute of Technology in Electronics and Communication and a bachelor's degree from Indira Gandhi Institute of Technology in Information Technology. She started her career as an application development analyst in Accenture, and later she worked in Deloitte for nearly 3 years as an RPA consultant and assistant manager. Now she is a senior RPA specialist in Citrix and a UiPath MVP. We take high privilege in sharing this platform with such a learned person. So I would like to request Nidhi ma'am to further enlighten us about the topic and grace us with her experience. Ma'am, please.
Hello, everybody. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Um, Thank you, and a good evening to all of you. I hope you guys are doing safe. And first of all, I'm really, really happy to see so many student developer champions in the same screen. So this is something I'm kind of really proud to see, and really good to see that so many college engineering students are, learning the industry trending skills, and I can also see over 100 attendees. So on a weekend, I am getting a kind of 100 attendees in a RPA session. This is something very, very huge. So huge kudos to all of you, all the RP enthusiasts. You guys are taking out time from your curriculum and trying to learn a new skill or a hot skill that the industry needs and keeping yourself updated. So again, applaud to all of you. So yes, thank you, Ayushman, for such a good introduction as well. You have already given my education background and as well as the professional career. So let me tell you like what we are going to talk about today in this session. I'll not be taking so much of time, and I'll be covering everything in brief. You can ask any of the questions in the chat window. I'll be happy to answer. Right. So we'll be talking about a little bit of my journey as the RPA developer, RPA solution architect, or as a RPA professional, right? And what are the prerequisites for you to get started in the RPA, right? What is the basic thing that you should knowing? I'm sure you all would have already known what is RPA. Gargi has given such a great session, so kudos to you, Gargi, as well. So I'll be sharing few of the prerequisites that you should be knowing, right? Then what are the roles in the industries for the RPA professionals? What are the skills that you need so that you can excel in your RPA journey? How the jobs look like, what is the future, right? Everything we'll be discussing, but in a very brief, right? So let me start with my journey. So as Aishman introduced, I graduated from IGIT College in information technology, and then through the campus placement, I get into the Accenture. I started my career as a .NET developer, so I was not initially a RP developer. I started as a .NET developer. I had no idea about .NET, but yes, Accenture and any other companies, right? They give you initial trainings. So I got trained for 3 months in the .NET, and I took 1 or 2 projects. But then with the internal trainings in the RPA that was given by the Accenture itself, I switched to the RPA domain. And let me tell you, it was fun. And from that time till now, I have not switched my technology. I am just enjoying it. RPA is really fun. Once you start learning it, you want to explore more. You want to build bots more, right? You want to integrate things. When it is running on the screen, it makes you happy. Even till now, I've developed around 50 plus bots, but still, whenever I create a small bot and it runs on the screen, it makes me happy. I just get overjoyed seeing, okay, something that is running on its own and something developed by me, and freeing a person who was doing that boring and tedious task. So that's really makes us happy. Right. And then after the Accenture, I switched to Deloitte and then Citrix. So in Citrix, I'm currently working as an individual contributor. It means I'm solely responsible for delivering the whole RPA projects individually, right? So the various industries that I worked is the healthcare and the FMGC, and the I would say the departments majorly that I worked is the finance, IT, and HR. These departments are extensively using RPA, and most of the bots that I've created are in these departments. But it doesn't mean that the other department doesn't use it. I'm still, creating bots in the other departments. There were few that I've created, but majorly these are the departments where I have personally worked, right? So that's a little bit about my journey, how I started. No, I didn't start from the college itself. I went into the company and got the internal training. I wasn't lucky enough like you, I would say. I hope I could have I would have got some kind of trainings and the student developer champions programs like this. Um, but yeah, that's all about my brief journey. Now let's talk about what are the prerequisites if someone wants to get started, right? If you are from a technical background, how much programming you should know, right? What are the skill set that you should be developing to have a good RPA career, right? So I would say one thing that you should be having is the problem solving mindset, right? It does not matter whether you are from a technical background, or you are from a coding background, or whatever, right? You should have a problem solving mindset, how to solve a particular problem. And you should not be very much particular about, okay, this is the only approach I can follow. You should be, open to all the possibilities, because there's always not a one path to solve a particular problem. There are multiple paths, right? So be sure that you are open to learn new skills, technologies, and tools, because when you go into the enterprise, it is not necessary that you would be interacting with a single tool, right? There could be multiple tools the enterprise is using. So be open to learn, like how this application is interacting, right? What if I do the API programming or whatever, right? So be open for the problem solving mindset. Then second comes the technical background, how much you should be having the coding or the programming skills, right? This is one of the myths that people have, correct? So I personally feel, as you said, I'm from electronics background, and then I switched to IT. So I consider myself someone not a very good programmer, but someone who knows a little bit of programming and know the basic programming concepts. And as much as I aware in the engineering first year, right? I hope I'm audible. Thanks.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am. Yeah.
So I'm sure like most of you would have got the course of introduction to programming in your first year, be it mechanical, be it electronics, IT, right? Uh, let's make it a little interactive, the session, and let's see what is the author that you read on the introduction to programming. I'll share mine. I guess it was Yashwant Kanetkar that I was reading when I was in my college time. So it was like introduction to C, and it was what we used to read. Let me know in the comment section which author you guys are following right now, right? So yeah, this is something about, this is much enough for you to get started. Introduction to programming. That's all. You should be knowing what are the loop concepts, what are variables, what are arguments, right? How to initialize things. That's all you should be needing to get started in the RPA, right? So that's another myth. No, you should not be a very good programmer. It's okay if you're just familiar with the programming concept, right? Let's come to the next thing, which most of the people, get confused about, which is like, what are the various roles in the RP industries and which one a fresher should be going for, or how much experience do we need for a particular role while you actually apply for the internship or for the job, right? And what are the corresponding skills that you need. So to make it more relatable to you, let me break it down. I guess you all would have learned SDLC in your concepts, right? Software development lifecycle, waterfall models, correct? So what is the waterfall models or the software development lifecycle looks like, right? You have various stages before you actually deliver a software product. What are the various stages? One is the requirement gathering. You have to know what you are trying to create. You gather all the requirements, right? So related to this, there is a one role called business analyst in the industry, in the RP industry. This person is responsible to know what is the automation that the person has to do. What is the application that has to be automated? How the applications are talking to each other, right? So this business analyst role is what it takes care of this particular requirement gathering. This role requires a little bit of experience in the enterprise application. So I would say this is someone you can apply for after 1 or 2 years of the enterprise level of experience. When you do an internship or when you do a 1 year of job, then you will be eligible for a business analyst role. The next comes, once you know what you have to automate, is how to automate. Now comes the developer's role, right? And this is the role that you have to target. The developer role is the best for all the freshers, and there are so many companies that are hiring developers for the internships. I personally know so many people in my, my colleagues, various industries, who are actually looking for the freshers for developers, because their enthusiasm, their knowledge, it's so much power than the, I would say, the other people. Their enthusiasm is on the other level, right? So they deliver a lot, and the RPA, this is what requires a collaborative brain, a communicative brain, all of these skills which a fresher really possess, right? So developer role is something you should be targeting, and you can actually get it. So RPA developer. Then comes the solution architect role. This is something you get after 3 to 4 years of experience, and then the program manager role, which you will be getting after so many of years, right? So please target the developer's role. Focus on your developer diploma on the UiPath Academy, take the certifications, and do all of the course related to the most of the RPA developers, right? I guess, and yeah, one more thing is, people say like, how is the future of RPA looks like, or is the RPA enough for me to get started in the industry or the enterprise? I would say yes, it is enough if you know UiPath, if you know UiPath Studio, you know how the orchestrator works, how the robot works. But it makes a good add-on if you also know the other tools of the coding or the programming. For example, I say if you know Git, right? If you know how to do the source code management through Git, it's a add-on to your profile. It is not a mandatory, but since most of the enterprise uses, it's an add-on to your profile. So apart from the RPA, apart from UiPath, you should be also learning how to actually manage your code through all of these tools. And UiPath, I'm sure you must have explored, right? In the UiPath Studio itself, you have a source code management through the Git, right? So please explore those areas as well. And if you are interested in the Python, I'm sure you must be, because this is something another hot skill, and people love to do, POCs on the Python, correct? So please explore the Python, because RPA and Python is another great combination in the future and in the current industry trend as well, right? So these are about the roles and the skills of the RPA industry. A little, I've just given a brief idea. Still, if you have any doubts, you can ask me anytime. Now coming to the jobs and the future of RPA, how you can start your career, correct? So there are few suggestions from my end. There are plenty of jobs. I personally, I'm working on 2 projects at a time. So now you can see how much demand it is there in the market. And for around past 2 to 3 years, I'm actually handling 2 to 3 projects at the same time. So there is a huge demand in the market for the RPA, but make sure that you make yourself a good RPA developer. How you can do is through the certifications. Please go ahead and take the certifications from the UiPath, because that actually helps you to highlight your profile, because there's so many RPA people, there are few profiles, right? They still mention that they have a good knowledge, but certification obviously adds a kind of stamp on your resume that you actually know the concepts very well, correct? So this is something that makes you stand out from the crowd, correct? So please target the certifications if you have not done yet. And please explore the internship opportunities. There are so many companies, again, I would repeat, they give you internships. I have in Deloitte, I have personally worked with the various interns on the RPA, and I love to work with, the freshers and the bright people. I would say I learn a lot from them, because these are the, I mean, you guys are actually talking to the world. We are talking to the clients, but you guys are actually, living in the world and talking to you actually know what the problem is, how to solve a problem. And, because most of the time we are in the projects talking to clients, but you always have a fresh ideas, you bring onto the table how to solve a particular problem. So I personally enjoy working with the freshers. And I would like to mention, right, I participated in the first hackathon from UiPath, right? And where I was a first runner up. And guess who was the winners? The winners were the final year college students. So I was a 3 years RPA developer champion, and the winner was a final year student group. They created something related to the RPA plus ML, and that really blown my mind. In the next hackathon, I collaborated with that particular student, and we both created another solution. So I mean, this is something I always say, right? You have good ideas, you have bright future. I mean, so please go ahead and explore the RPA world. It is there for you. And I'm sure you guys are going to rock in your future in the RPA. And maybe I'm going to see any of you with me as a colleague in near future. I hope I could see you. I'll be happy to work with so many bright minds. As I said in the session in the initially, right? There's so many student developer champions in this session. I am really, really happy. I mean, to see that, you guys are really doing such a great job and taking out time apart from your curriculum and doing such kind of sessions. Again, a huge kudos to all of you. So yes, with that, please participate in hackathons as well. That makes you visible, right? And definitely it makes you more kind of collaborative. You create network around yourself that actually helps you in your future, right? So yeah, that's all from my side. I guess I have taken so much of time. Still, if you have any doubts, I'll be happy to connect with all of you on the LinkedIn. Um, please ping me if you have any doubts. I'll be happy to help you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Those words were really knowledgeable and inspiring.
Thanks again.
Well,
Yeah.
as we know that the things become easier and easier to understand with practical experimentation and demo sessions, right? So, with regard to this, I would like to call upon Mr. Subhashish Naik to give a demonstration on how we can automate using RPA. Bhaiya, are you there?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah, please.
Okay. So let me just start. So we get to know a lot about RPA from Ma'am and Kargi. Now let's see how it looks like. So this is the UiPath Studio, and you may be quite familiar with this UI. You know, it's just looks something like Office suite. Okay, so this is the project section, and this is the activation section. UiPath Studio comes with many extensions like just you can see Excel, Excel extension, CP use, or you can see computer vision extension, or you can say UI automation. So now just let's build a simple bot without any programming. Okay, so um, let's see. I have to buy a phone from Flipkart, and there are various options. So to to choose a phone. So I plan to collect the data of all the phones from Flipkart, and I choose the specs. I will compare the ratings and the reviews. So to do that, I will just make a board called. So to do that, I will just first make a sequence. So in this sequence, what I'll do, just do a simple data scraping. So first of all, you can see this Flipkart. So let me see. Uh, I choose to buy Samsung phones, Samsung mobiles. So there are various options, and there comes in different price, different ratings, different specs that that I want to buy. So to do that, what I will do is just do a simple data scraping project using our UiPath. So first of all, I will choose the name of the phone. Then I will repeat it to make a pattern. So let's say just make a Excel Excel file, and I will name the column as phones, and I will also extract it URL to buy that phone, and it will direct me to that. So I will name this column as link. Then just you can see this is sample demo where I get the data of all the phone and their links. So let's just extract the correlated data. Okay, so first of all, I am price specific. So I will just choose the price to, and I will repeat it again to make a pattern. So first of all, price. Then I will choose to go for the ratings, because ratings, are very important to compare. So I will again make a columns called ratings. Then I would like to know about the let's see let's say the RAM, because I don't care much about the battery or camera. So let me choose the specs of RAM, or you can choose anything you want. Okay, so let's just name this as specs. Okay, so here is a demo that it get all the data of the device, of the different device. But uh, as you may know, there are various pages. So I have to get the data of all. So um, I will just automate this the next button as well. So surely get the data up and how it's done. As you can see, I didn't use any language or anything. If you have data flowchart or sequence, at least you can get started with RPA easily. Okay, so now I will write the data in a CSV file. So write CSV surely get, and I will drop it down here, and I will name the file as and select its destination in Excel file. Let's say Samsung, and I will select it data table as extract data table. So it will be easy for me to read. Okay. So now you can see that there are no issues here. So you can see we are in the first page here. We are in the first page here, and uh, let's see what happens after I just start the process. So the process has started, and as you can see, I'm not doing anything, but the page is getting refreshed automatically, and it has reached to the very end of the Flipkart. And you can see we're at Samsung Galaxy something, and here and now at Samsung Metro. And let's see in which page we are. So we are at page 5, and let's see whether our work is get done or not. So let me just get to the Excel file that I have saved. So here is the Excel file. Okay. Then try the CSV file. And here we go. Next. So here is our Samsung file that I have created. So here I get the data, all the devices that has been listed on Samsung, and now I can easily compare between different model, different price, and choose according to their ratings or their specs as well, like their RAM, ROM. So this was just a demo project. You can automate anything, even anything in your computer. I can't say there is any limitation from there is and using UiPath. There are many inbuilt templates like email automation, Excel automation, Word automation, or you can make your own chatbots as well. Along with that, you can integrate RPA with AI and machine learning to automate your project as well. So that was from my side. Now over to you, Kargi.
Yes, Subhashish, can you please present the PPT once again? Okay, guys, so now I'm here to tell you about the why to choose UiPath. What's so special about UiPath when there are so many other automation technologies too, but what gives UiPath the edge over others? So, as is clearly evident from the slide, that it was voted as number one on G2 for RPA and low code category in all the four regions. So, citing the reasons as to what gives UiPath the edge over other platforms. So, first of all, uh, it is extremely student friendly. Unlike its other competitors, whose products are quite expensive and they offer only a few days trial, UiPath offers its community version for free. So if you are a beginner and you want to get started with RPA, UiPath is definitely a platform you should consider. Next slide, please. As yes, so the UiPath suite has three core components as mentioned: design, the studio, orchestrator, and the robot. So, in the first part, that is the studio, you think of an idea, to solve a particular problem. Then you start making your program in the studio. In the studio, you make your bot locally in your computer using Visual Basics, vb.net, and its many inbuilt functions. Then you deploy your bot into the cloud in the orchestrator component, and here you can manage all your bots and their duty cycles. And finally, that is the robot component. It is responsible for executing the workflows and the instructions. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the studio part. As you can see, extremely interactive interface, and you can see drag and drop as is visible in the video snippet. Orchestrator part, once again, extremely interactive, and it is considered as the heart of your automation management. So it gives you the power to deploy, trigger, monitor, measure, and track every robot. Next slide, please. Now talking about the final component and obviously the most interesting one. So UiPath robots. So there are different types of bots. You can make custom bots according to your job. So first comes the attended bots, where human interaction is needed. For example, you want to automate something in your computer, then you can build attended bots where human need to take important decisions. Then comes hybrid bots, which work automatically but sometimes need human interaction to take important decisions, hence the name hybrid. Then at last, there are fully unattended bots, which work on cloud without any involvement of human interaction. For example, sending monthly bills, or emails, or running a service. Then coming to the next slide. Okay, so finally install UiPath Studio or Studio X and plugins. So as you can see, here is the link to download UiPath Studio. So when you download UiPath Studio in your computer, it would ask you whether you want to use UiPath Studio or UiPath Studio X. So let me cite the difference between the two. So the UiPath Studio is specifically for RPA developers, whereas UiPath Studio X is for people who are beginning or not so knowledgeable about programming but are still interested in automation technology. So as you can see, UiPath does not want to confine its platform to only RPA developers. So so yes, you all can definitely think about it, and here is the links and all the resources, you can go through it. Okay, next, build an automation using UiPath. As you can see, the UiPath Academy. The Academy empowers you to grow as a professional and reach new heights in the digital era by providing latest study materials on RPA. So the link is given. To know more about the UiPath Academy, you can definitely visit the link and then take on-demand courses, and you could enroll in the role-based learning paths, the paths in which you are interested, and could get comprehensive and elaborate product training. Next slide, please. Yes, so UiPath community, extremely vibrant ecosystem, more than 1.5 million professionals and citizen developers learning, getting support and succeeding together in their automation careers. Next slide, please. So what's next? Join UiPath student developer community. The link is given, and we'll share the link if possible on the chat and the YouTube where it's streaming. And if you have more questions, you can definitely freely email. And yes, thank you very much. And over to you, Ayushman. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhaiya. Thank you, Dee. That was really insightful. So now that we are done with the demo session and the promotion, so it's time for our doubts to be cleared. Okay. So we will be beginning with the Q&A session, and there is a Q&A in the chat section that will be starting right now. So all your doubts, please, I request you to put them all in the Q&A section so that our speakers can clear them out. So Vashish Bhaiya, we can start with the Q&A session.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so all of you, now that you have attended the session, whatever doubts you have inside your head, may it be related to the career guidance or may it be related to the RPA itself and any of the technicalities, please put them over here so that our speakers can actually clear them out. Okay.
So here is the first question. Can we program robots through RPA? No, actually, let me clear that. Robotic programming and RPA is completely different. Here, when we talk about RPA, we mean software bots. As you might know, there are Telegram bots or chat bots. We're talking that bots. But and for RPA, we need Visual Basic.NET or VB.NET, and that's a very simple programming language. You don't need to be very expert in programming for that.
Okay, so here is a question from Sonali Sahu. She wants to ask that can electrical engineering students do RPA? Or for that instant, can any core branch student do or pursue RPA as a career? Nidhi ma'am, if you could answer that question.
Sure, Aishman. Could you please repeat the question again?
Yes, ma'am. Sonali Sahu wants to ask that can an electrical engineering student pursue RPA as a career?
Yes, sure. I mean, why not? As even Gagi showed on one of the presentation, right? In UiPath, there are two profiles. One is called UiPath Studio for the programmers with the technical skill. The other one is called the UiPath Studio X. UiPath Studio X is a low-code platform where you actually do not have to learn even the basic concepts of programming. Even if you do not know what is variable, that should be enough, right? So anyone from the non-technical background such as ECE or Triple E or mechanical, civil, yes, anyone can get started. I personally have colleagues who are from the mechanical or another engineering backgrounds. So as I said, if you still have a problem solving mindset, right, you can start your career. The basic reason why RPA is a boom is because of this particular reason, because anyone can get started and it's easy to learn. Within few months you can become an RPA developer. This is what I could say. But please make sure that you take the proper learning from the Uipath Academy and do the hands-on. uh, take I was reading one of the chat session, and one someone was telling, why don't we automate a bot that just sends a thanks message to the WhatsApp whoever wishes the birthday right? So yeah, it's a good idea. Explore around you, what can you automate through RPA. You must be doing so many assignments in a day to day life, right, which is just copy paste for you, right? It is not taking brain to do all of these stuff, right? Please do the automation and let the robot do it. I do it. I have done WhatsApp automation, I have done LinkedIn automation. Why not? Because who wants to do all of this stuff, correct? So yes, you can get started. Just please make sure that you take good learning from the academy courses, and there are lots of and lots of stuff, be it YouTube videos, be it your Path Academy, right? So yeah, that's my answer.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, ma'am, here's another question. What are the key skills that one should have to get into RPA? It is by Ashutosh Rana.
Okay. Hi, Ashutosh. Okay, so you, as a starter, when I say when you are actually starting at your RPA journey, um, maybe I would be repeating it multiple times, but a little bit of technical, mindset you should be knowing if you want to start as a developer. Correct? So again, in the development zone, right, you should be knowing how to interact with the I would say the other roles of your RP life cycle. When I say developer is actually the core person who's creating the bots in the industry, right? So you should have a good communication and collaborative skill. So this is a kind of, I would say, non-technical skill that is basically required. You would be interacting with the clients, looking at what they require. If they are telling you to automate something and you give them something else, that can actually blow away, right? So that particular mindset of how to capture the requirements, the someone is asking, right, this is what I want from the automation to do, correct? So a good communication and collaborative skills. Raise your hands if you do not understand what the client is saying. Please raise your hands if you do not understand anything. That's fine. I mean, I guess this is something we say a lot of time, right? There's no harm in asking a dumb or silly questions, rather than creating the blunders at the end. So do not worry. Even in the meetings, we ask very silly questions from the client. So right. So please make sure you have a that particular skill. Communication is really, you have to be really good in when you want to be a good developer, I would say. Again, from the technical background, yes, you should have a good expertise on the RPA. You should have a good hands-on, because the more you do the hands-on with different applications, try to explore more applications. Just now, I guess Shuashi has shown us the web automation through Flipkart. That's one part, right? Try to do one desktop application automation. Try to do mail automation, Excel automation, right? So please explore maximum applications that you can. There are few applications that cannot be actually automated through RPA. So why don't you actually do the feasibility check, right? Why it's not getting automated with RPA and all, right? So just brainstorm all of these things. So as I said, try to explore more application. That will make you a good RPA developer. And third one that I mentioned is, as a good RP developer, you should also be knowing the other tools that the enterprise uses. And one of them is the Git, the source code management. You should be knowing little bit of source code management, because you could not be a single developer working in the same project. There could be multiple developers collaborating with you and creating the code, and you must be, you could be just creating a single piece of the automation, while the others are creating the other pieces of the application, and then you have to integrate it and then test it, right? So these tools are going to help you, to actually become a good RPA developer. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so next question we have is RPA similar to AI? It has been asked by Vasha Kumari.
Okay, I would say it's a very good question because this is something we get confused a lot about RPA versus AI. Correct. So RPA is not equals to AI. Correct. um, RPA, which is robotic process automation, right? It is a rule based automation, because you are pre-training your bot that if this decision is has to be taken, then do this, otherwise do not do this, correct? It cannot take cognitive decisions, which machine learning and artificial intelligence can do, right? So you cannot create models that are pre-trained and give you predictions and all of these things, right? It is not able to perform these advanced concepts. So that's the basic difference between the robotic process automation and artificial intelligence. When you go towards the cognitive, machine learning, and all of these advanced concepts, but yes, they both are compatible. You can integrate RPA plus AI, RPA plus machine learning. You can easily integrate it. If I have to tell you, UiPath has a product called AI Center. I am not sure if you guys are familiar, right? So AI Center is actually a product where you can deploy your machine learning models and use or consume them within your RPA robots. Correct. Even they give you various pre-trained RPA models, which you can simply consume in RPA and make your RPA smarter. Correct. So RPA is, I would say, it's an automation without brain. Correct. You are pre-training it, and it is not able to predict, do the predictions, and uh, all of the advanced concepts, or the machine learning concept that you're supposed to do with the artificial intelligence or the other technologies, right? So yeah, that's the basic difference between both of them. And I would say the RP is a technology that can actually integrate with most of the various other technologies, because RPA plus chatbot is another great trend, correct? If I just say that book tickets for me, right? You through the chatbot, and at the back end, it is actually booking a ticket for you, correct? So you have a chatbot, correct, which comes under the artificial intelligence or the machine learning capability, right? You are understanding the intent of the user, that the intent is that they want the booking to be done, right? And then at the back end, who's actually doing the booking is RPA, because that does not require brain. It is actually a pre-trained if and else condition with basic rule-based automation, right? So that's how they both work together and give you a good, AI, AI enabled robots, I would say, right? That's what we call as intelligent automation. So when you say RPA plus AI, that becomes your IA, intelligent automation.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, here's a question, ma'am. Can we make our bots communicate with each other and sync them for a particular task? It has been asked by Soham Ghosh.
Sorry, can you repeat the
Yes,
question,
ma'am. He is
Ashna?
asking that can we make two or three different bots and then make them communicate with each other to do a particular task?
Yes, actually, that's what we do a lot of times, because um, if you think at the modularity level, because if you are assigning a task to a single robot, correct, and if it is taking say 1 hour of time to complete a particular task, right, but you actually want the four bots to run parallelly, correct, it means they can actually talk to each other, that when you finish your job, the second robot can take up from where you the first one bot I mean the first bot has left, and then the third bot will pick up when the second bot has done the execution. So this happens when you have a kind of prerequisites in your process automation. For example, when I say when all the attachments are downloaded successfully, correct, then start my ITR or the income tax filing, say, correct. So my second bot has a prerequisite that all the attachments should be saved, and all the attachments should be saved by bot number one. So bot number one, the what it's going to do is it will save all the mirror chat attachments, whatever is required for you to fill the ITR, correct, and then it will save it in a particular folder. When it is done, it is going to trigger the second bot only when the successful execution is done. If it is failed, it will not trigger the second bot. There is no point of doing this training, right? Correct. So yes, there are bots that are chained in such a way that they follow either sequential execution one after the other or the parallel execution when you have to finish your task quickly. So instead of one bot doing within 1 hour, you actually do the parallel execution. Four bots. Suppose you have say 1,000 records to process, right? But you only have 15 minutes to do that particular execution, correct? So what you do, you break those 1,000 records into four records. You create four Excel out of those, that particular one single Excel, and then you assign each Excel to each bot. Why don't you all perform your single task with with less number of records? That will be little quick also, and your task even would be done. So that's how we work. So that's all about the role of the I would say the architect, which I was actually telling you. So after the developer comes the solution architect, that actually decides how the whole solution is going to be, how many machines we need to run the bot, how many bots we are going to prepare, how the input would be. Are we going to, take it in the form of Excel sheet or in some another way? Everything, right? So yes, we do all of this solutioning before creating the bot.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, here's another question by Gaurav Mishra. Is it necessary to learn more than one language for RPA? As he says, he knows Python, but other than that, does he have to learn any other language or something like that?
I would say no. You do not have to know any other language. If I can say like Python and RPA are the best combo, correct? So you are already something knowing which is the future trend, correct? Um, because what I would say is there's no point of learning new languages because if you're familiar with the programming concepts, what is the difference is just the syntax, correct? I learned C sharp, then I learned Python. It was easy for me to switch between the languages because if you are familiar with the programming concepts, there is no worry to learn new syntaxes, correct? And in the RPA, what we use is the VB.NET and C sharp codes, correct? And these are very, I would say, few concepts that you can learn within days. You do not have to actually learn the basic programming of C sharp. Now, where you need C sharp, I'll tell you. So, if you are starting your, it is not at the starting of your career. If you want to become an advanced RP developer after 2 to 3 years of experience, right? So, all of the libraries of the UiPath are actually built with the .NET background. Correct? The whole platform is with the .NET background. So, all of the activities that you see on the left hand side of the Uipath Studio, type into, click all of these activities. Correct. So when you want to create your own custom activities, suppose for your own, I would say, university website, correct? To interact with your own university website, you have few APIs, and you want to create custom activities in the UiPath Studio so that you can have the activities for your website itself, those custom activities. So if you want to go to that advanced level, then only you need to learn the C sharp or the .NET basic concepts. But again, I would say if you know the programming concepts, it's just the difference in the syntax, correct? So do not worry. If you are getting started, you will need few of the concepts, I'm sure, but that won't take too much of time. You just go ahead and learn those concepts, which is like how to create a link queries or something, but that is not a mandatory also. Even I don't know so many concepts right now. I am still learning, correct? So there's no end of learning. I'm telling you, in the IT still I keep learning every day, right? Even after the 7 to 8 years I have to learn. So that's enough for you. Python is more than enough.
Thank you, ma'am. Since we are constrained by the time and we have to conclude the session, so that will be all for today, and that will be all the doubts that we'll be taking. And don't worry, we'll be staying in contact, and all your doubts who have further doubts can be cleared by our other speakers in the coming future. So now that we have reached to the end, so with this, I would like to extend the vote of thanks now. So I would like to thank everyone who joined us for this event. We appreciate you being here. Firstly, I convey my sincere regards to Ms. Nidhi Chaturvedi ma'am, who took out time from a busy schedule and joined us today. I would also like to thank UiPath for collaborating with us and conducting this webinar. Then I would like to thank the whole organizing committee for their sincere efforts. Special recognition to the audience who remained patient throughout and made this event a grand success with their gusto and enthusiasm. So now we'll wrap up today's event with a promise on behalf of Idea Innovation Cell that we'll be keep on organizing these proceedings related to the field with some more innovative ideas to nourish your mind and fill you with more knowledge. Thank you all and see you soon, everyone. Stay safe. Ma'am, now I would like to request you to please turn on a video so that we can have a picture. Subhashish Bhaiya and Gagiti, you too.
Sure.
Thank
Okay.
you, ma'am.
Just let me know if the frame is okay.
Yeah, ma'am, it's completely fine. Subhashish Bhaiya, yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. That will be all.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, guys, and please stay safe. And I'll be love to connect with you through LinkedIn. And If you have any doubts, again, I would say further, I'm there to help you. No worries. You can ping me for any basic doubts to advanced doubts. Okay. So, yeah, thanks for conducting this session and having me again.
Thank you, ma'am, for joining us.